Hey everybody, it's me, Zach. This is Judy, and welcome back to our channel. Hey everybody, it's me, Zach, and today I am back again to discuss our sort of favorite when 1,000 Pound Sisters isn't airing TLC show, the 1,000 Pound Besties. Everybody, it is back with episode 2 of season 2. I think the TLC people called it Weigh-In is the hardest part. I don't know if they were trying to do something clever with that title or if that's just the title. I also don't know why I slipped into a southern drawl. But here we are. Here we are. After last week's episode 1, I just appreciate all of you engaging with it. I know that some of y'all don't even watch the shows from TLC. You just like to hear me talk about them. And some of you do watch them and like to hear what my thoughts are on it. So I just appreciate all of you for commenting, engaging with the content, etc. And also thank you to Tina from the show who left several comments on my last video and gave some insight into the things that were going on while they were filming the show and things like that. So if you want some more information, just check out the comments. Tina has been very supportive of my channel, along with Megan on Instagram in terms of sharing it with people and things like that. So I just appreciate these girls. I think they're a lot of fun and they seem very sweet from everything I can tell. And so, I don't know, I just felt like I needed to share some gratitude before we get into this week's episode. Last week, the episode left off with Megan throwing her journal, her weight loss journal that Ashley made, and storming off because she didn't want to weigh in front of everybody. Okay, that's where we left off. And this episode picks back up right there. And it starts off with Ashley just making a lot of great points about, you know, like them doing this together, weighing in together, and how she would rather do all of this weighing in and stuff for the first time with her sisters, her friends, as opposed to like getting to Dr. Proctor's and doing it for the first time with him. I think she also makes a good point to say that, like, you know, whenever Megan is encouraging the other girlies, they all respond very positively to her, or at least they don't like storm off and get upset. Well, I think most of the time they do that. I seem to kind of recall maybe Vanessa and Tina in the past having some pushback, but certainly they're not like, they never, from what I recall, threw things. Like, they weren't doing any kind of that storming off. But I will say, if you don't remember a lot about the first season, Vanessa particularly was the one that like raged out a lot. Like, even when Megan just tried to get her to do the silly hula hoop thing, like, Vanessa lost it. So, you know, I think some parts of this are like forgetting that Vanessa was kind of like the quote unquote villain. I don't think any of them are villains, just to be clear, but like TLC was kind of painting Vanessa in season 1 to be the villain. And it seems like the attitude this season is that like we're gonna present Megan as the like unruly villain of the season, or at least the first 2 episodes, if nothing else. And rightfully so, Ashley's upset about the journal that she put time and energy into making for Megan.
Because if she faces it right now, then she has to admit to herself that she has some accountability in that.
On top of her throwing my journal. It's right now on the floor being humped on by ants. I just want to throw that out there.
These people literally are always thinking about sex, though. Like, who thinks about ants on the ground humping something? Like, I don't know. It's just so funny to me. I appreciate all the sexual innuendos. So anyways, the other 3 girlies, sans Megan, go and weigh in. The last time that Tina was with Daddy Proctor, she weighed in at 297 pounds. Now when she's with all the girlies weighing in, she is at 295.4 pounds. She also mentions that she does have an appointment coming up with Daddy Proctor and that she hopes Megan will go. Spoiler alert, she does. Vanessa weighed in at 304 in last week's episode, and in this week's episode, she is now at 301.8 pounds, so she's continuing to lose weight. I think they said like a week had passed, so that seems like a pretty reasonable weight loss for a week. And before Ashley steps on the scale, we get a little goodbye moment from the Hello It's Ready scale.
Oh, she didn't like you.
Right.
And I don't feel like we get to see enough of like the multitude of talents that this scale has. I don't remember if there ever was a time where I heard it say goodbye to somebody. You know what? Maybe I think maybe one time I heard it and like maybe an Amberlynn vlog or something. But I don't feel like we get to see the multitude of the scale's talents like that. And I would like to see more goodbyes. But Ashley does weigh in. The last time she had weighed in with Dr. Proctor, I think she was 378 pounds. This time she is 375.4 pounds. So she didn't gain any, but that's not a significant loss. I think they said that the last time she'd weighed in with him was 6 months ago. Eventually, Megan does come back to talk to her friends, and she admits that maybe she shouldn't have stormed off and maybe that she could have handled it better. She just mentioned that, like, she thought that the first time she weighed in again, she would get to process it on her own and then she would share it with her friends. And I get that to some extent, you know, like I think that that is real, but also I'm like, girl, what did you think was going to happen on this show? I still very much stand by that, but I understand where she's coming from for sure. And I also just think like maybe handle yourself a little bit better in the future. Spoiler alert, she doesn't. But maybe try to like contain your emotions and be more reasonable, especially with your friends, let alone later like Dr. Proctor or whoever, whatever. But Ashley does share, because if you don't remember, before this show ever happened, like years ago, Ashley did have a gastric sleeve surgery that happened, and Ashley's concern for Megan is that when Ashley had that procedure done, she stopped going to the doctor and stopped being successful when it came to weight loss. And she's worried that that's going to happen for Megan too. And that does bring me to one of my challenges with both this show and 1,000 Pound Sisters. Probably this show a little bit less than 1,000 Pound Sisters, but I struggle with this show because it always feels like there's a lot of projection, you know? It feels like a lot of like, you need to be concerned about this because I'm concerned about this because of myself or my experience or things like that. And I think the way that this show is slightly better than the 1,000 Pound Sisters is that this show, I think it is coming from a genuine place of like concern, whereas a lot of times when it happens in 1,000 Pound Sisters from somebody, Chris, Amy, Tammy, whoever it might be, it usually feels like they're trying to deflect from their own issues. So I think Ashley's being way more genuine about this concern, because I do think Ashley is also trying to be accountable to her own issues and challenges and problems. But it's just like sometimes I always wonder when I'm watching these shows, like, what would happen if y'all just worried about yourself and like took genuine accountability for yourself? And honestly, I'm going to talk about this probably a little bit more later, because I think that's a point that Dr. Proctor tries to make for Megan later, not that Megan receives it. But I just wonder what would happen if all the girlies put as much time and energy into themselves as they put into their friends. Either way, I do understand where Ashley was coming from with that sentiment. Megan does share that she feels like the weakest link.
But I feel like the weakest link. Y'all think I'm crazy, but you just had it and you're like a honeymoon stage. You got a long road. You're going to get to where you want to be. And you two are fixing to have surgery. I've had it. It's pretty much over for me.
And truly, I am just so concerned about her negative self-talk. I feel like she definitely needs to like unpack some things some more. I know she did visit the psychologist that the show has in the last season, I'm pretty sure. But I feel like she should work through some more of that stuff, just like as a bystander who's not a medical professional in any kind of way. But she's so quick to like negatively talk about herself and take everything that anybody else has to say as something that's like a negative thing about herself, if that makes sense. She does end up getting on the scale. The last time she had seen Dr. Proctor, which I think she said was 6 months ago, she weighed in at 303 pounds. And on this episode, she is 315.2 pounds. So she did gain like, 12 pounds? So in a confessional, the girlies talk about Scalegate.
Y'all, hallelujah, Scalegate is over.
I'm the littlest.
I'm now the biggest bitch.
Oh, I'm still fat.
I'm not seeing Proctor. I don't want to go. I don't really feel comfortable, but if it'll shut y'all up, I'll go.
And ultimately, Megan decides that she is going to go see Dr. Proctor, but only because she wants to shut everybody else up, not because she wants to do it for herself. She just literally wants all of her friends to shut up, which I think is an interesting choice and probably not going to lead to the results that she wants. The next scene we get is Tina and Megan going back to Tina's home to try to clean up a lot of the like mess and destruction from the flooding that they had. And honestly, the destruction does look like a lot. It looks like it's really left that house in shambles. I can't imagine having to go through and clean that all up and fix that all up. Megan, as you may recall, was living in Tina's basement and had a lot of stuff in Tina's basement. In fact, in the first season, they really kind of like showed the expanse of stuff that she just had chilling in like containers and things like that in the basement, to the point that it like really stressed Tina out. So Megan's trying to go through all of this stuff, and Tina thinks, wow, now's a great time to talk about this weight loss journal.
My Nana made this for me, and it's just ruined.
I'm sorry that this happened.
Okay.
So what about your diet journal? Did it get destroyed?
And I'm just like, is this the best timing for this? Is this the best timing right after Megan gets done talking about this picture by her Nana getting ruined? Let me also just say that it's a little unclear from this clip that it seems like they're trying to make it seem like Tina's trying to ask if it got destroyed, but Ashley gave those journals to them after they were already living in the hotel. So why they would make it seem like Megan would have any concern about it being destroyed is weird and silly to me, and just obviously a little bit overproduced on TLC's end. I mean, I'm sure TLC was like, okay, well, this is a weight loss show, so we need to talk to Megan about how she is or isn't losing weight. But it's just like, you couldn't find a better time to do that. We couldn't find any other time to do that after she's like picking up ruined things from this flood. Like, the timing was off and nobody was over here asking Tina about her weight loss while she was trying to pick up the pieces of her life. So I just feel like maybe we could have had this conversation literally any other time. And also, if I recall, Megan's situation with all of her stuff is like a borderline like hoarding situation. So I'm sure she's having a hard time letting things go, letting go of things that she's been holding on to. So I'm sure this isn't like her best time to be talking about something sensitive when she's already dealing with all of these other sensitive issues. The next segment on this episode is literally my favorite segment of the whole episode because it involves another daddy, it involves sexual innuendos, it just really involves all my favorite things about this show. So Vanessa and Ashley go to work out, and Vanessa has hired a professional trainer for the two of them. And by Vanessa, I mean TLC paid a professional trainer to come train Ashley and Vanessa. So in walks Daddy Ernesto.
Well, if you have to, you have to, but...
Good afternoon, ladies.
Hi.
How are you guys doing?
Good, how are you?
I'm Ernesto.
And I'm just like, damn, these women are surrounded by beautiful men. And Ashley takes time to point out his neck muscles.
Oh my God, I'm scared. His neck has muscles. His neck works out.
But all I could think about is him put me in a headlock with them biceps.
Hello, I'm Ernesto, and I'm gonna your muscles up.
Yes.
I would love for him to fuck up my muscles, if you know what I'm saying. And Vanessa does know what I'm saying.
If I don't get a good enough workout here at the gym, maybe I can take Ernesto home and he can give me a home workout. He's going to get our toys. I don't need you to leave the room. No, I don't want to leave.
But all jokes aside and all daddies aside, this episode was also great because I think it just really highlighted how much Vanessa has grown since season 1. She's trying things, she's pushing herself, she's doing all the things, has such a good attitude about everything. And I'm honestly just like truly so proud of her. And it also gives me hope that like all of these other girlies can also do that because like I already said in this video, Vanessa season 1 was like painted out to be the villain. And Ashley, surprisingly, after being like, Megan shouldn't have walked off with this journal situation, weigh-in situation type of deal, Ashley walks off after being asked to get on this ab machine to do a workout. She does explain a little bit further that it's because she had a hernia repaired years ago and she's worried about injuring it again. But Ernesto does like a really great job of talking her off of that ledge and talking her into giving it a try and talking about how you have to like try to do these things or else like you're never going to be able to fully get back the same level of movement. So she does do it. She does just fine. It's very encouraging. And then Vanessa and Ashley have a little talk out in the parking lot afterwards where Vanessa encourages her to go talk to Dr. Connie, the psychologist that Vanessa and I believe Megan talked to in season 1. And Ashley agrees to do it. And we get to see that a little bit later in the episode. And y'all know I love women supporting women going to therapy. So I am all about that. I love it. I love that Ashley is down to give it a try. We then go back to the hotel living with Tina and Megan. And I can tell just based on this scene and then some previews for next week's episode that they're trying to present this storyline of like Tina is on the edge of chaos and like can barely take it anymore from having to deal with like having all of her kids in a small space, having to deal with Megan, having to try to get them to go to school on time every day, having to like try to eat healthy herself. Like Tina is on the point of breaking. She's at her breaking point, I think is what I'm trying to say. And after presenting all of this, like they show a lot of clips of like Megan being annoying. There's like a clip of her asking Tina kind of sarcastically if she needs mental help.
Are you gonna be okay? You need help? Maybe mentally?
Look, what's that?
And there's also this weird interaction between Tina and Megan where Tina's like, Bestie, I just need a break. I need a break from being a mom, a wife, from everything. Like, I'm going crazy in here. And Megan's like, oh yeah, I totally get that.
There is no room to be anything but mommy and wife.
I understand what you're saying because sometimes I'm a mom too. To John.
Like, Megan girl, no, you are not in the same shoes as Tina here. And I get overall that I think she's mostly joking during this scene, but it's also quite clear that Megan is not aware that she's part of the problem. We then get to see Ashley meet with Dr. Connie, and overall this scene I think is very endearing, and it also I think helps us get to know Ashley in a way that we didn't get to know her in season 1. If you don't recall, she was only in season 1 a fraction of the time compared to the other 3 girls because she, I think from what I remember being told by like Tina and Megan is that she was often busy with like her actual full-time job and couldn't be available at all the times for filming and stuff as much as the other girls. And so I feel like this really gave us an opportunity to get to know Ashley more and kind of like what her experience has been, which was one of my hopes at the end of season 1. I was like, if there's a season 2, I would really like to get to know Ashley better, and I feel like this scene really helps do that. She shares a lot about how her dad passed away and her feelings of guilt surrounding things that she wonders if she could have done differently to help him in his health. And she talks about how she oftentimes eats to deal with her confusion or anger over that situation, and also how she has some unresolved emotions surrounding her father's death. So Dr. Connie gives her a task that I feel like a lot of these psychologists and therapists on shows like this, like My 600-Pound Life, etc., give, which is to write a letter to her dad about that situation and also write a letter to her past self about that situation, which I don't know, for me, if somebody said that to me, I'd be like, that's corny, but I do think that that's helpful for a lot of people, and so I hope it ends up being helpful for Ashley as well. Dr. Connie also provides some good insight that I think is also very common in shows like this, where she emphasizes that like getting this surgery isn't going to like help you change your relationship with food. It's not going to change a bad relationship with food strictly on its own. It can help with that, but like you have to do some other work involved with that too. And so I really felt like at the end of this segment that Ashley seemed committed to doing a lot of that work and trying to change those things. So I'm really excited to see what happens with Ashley moving forward. And then, of course, the episode ends with Tina and Megan going to the doctor to see old Daddy Proctor, and first of all, he's looking fine as ever, okay? So if you're concerned about how he's aging just fine. He's looking chef's kiss, immaculate, perfect. But before she even gets to the hospital or the doctor's office, she mentions in a confessional that she's still feeling very hurt by what Dr. Proctor said to her the last time, which, mind you, every time so far this season that she's brought this up, they always cut to a flashback of what Dr. Proctor said to her.
You are one of the less successful people that I've seen to this point.
Sorry, I'm going to get emotional on you. I'm disappointed in myself. I hate this battle. It sucks.
Listen, this is about you taking control of your life.
It was really just like him saying that she was one of the less successful patients that he had, and that she needed to just like change some things that she's doing to make that not be the case. And his tone when watching that was very chill, in my opinion. I feel like it came from a genuine place of concern for her, not like trying to be accusatory or anything like that, but just saying like, here's what you need to do to change. So I really feel like there's something going on within Megan herself that isn't able to see that as like constructive feedback and is only seeing it as like, I'm the worst ever. When she first gets there, immediately when Dr. Proctor comes in, she starts crying.
Megan and Tina, how are you guys?
How are you doing?
Hey there.
Hey.
She doesn't seem very happy.
No, not.
Why not?
Because I'm not in a good place and I didn't like our last visit.
And honestly, Dr. Proctor's response to all of this is really like a masterclass in trying to get people to hold themselves accountable, and also a masterclass in like active listening, because she keeps saying like, you know, you made me feel so awful. You made me feel so terrible. And Dr. Proctor is like, okay, well, what did you hear me say? Like, what was the thing that you heard me say that has led you to feeling this way? And she was like, well, I heard that I was a failure, which, again, in all of the flashbacks that they've showed, he's never said that she was a failure, just said that she wasn't as successful as most of his patients. Which I do understand how her mind could interpret it that way, but again, like, what she's hearing is not what he was trying to say. He then goes on to walk her back through all of their time together, including their accomplishments. Like, she lost 200 pounds. Her heaviest weight was in the 500s, and now she's in the 300s. So he even walks her back through that, but then also walks her back through the stuff that she hasn't done as well. He does have to be like, time out, girly. Like, you're saying that you have done things that you needed to do, but like, you didn't even attend our aftercare appointments that I have all of my patients go to. So, like, why didn't you do that? And Megan shifts the blame back onto him, and he shifts the blame back onto her.
And you have not made a single one of them.
When was this? Because I haven't got a single call.
Why haven't you reached out to us then?
But he really tries to push her to be like, did you do all of the things you were supposed to do? And he mentions in a confessional that he's trying to get her to take accountability for herself and for her health and her behavior and her actions. He says it's because it's clear that she is heavily influenced by the people around her and wanting to please them and doing what they want to do, and also, like, thus blames the people around her for her health and behavior. And I think that is true, really, to quite an extent. Like, she really only showed up to this appointment because she wanted to get people to stop telling her that she had to go back and see him. She wasn't doing it for herself. And she often shifts the blame of things onto other people and does a lot of that projecting that I was talking about earlier. He's also very clear that he is frustrated that she's taking a lot of the opportunities that she has for granted, and that he feels like everybody sometimes needs a little bit of tough love to take accountability for their life. And I honestly don't even know that I personally would call what he's doing tough love. I feel like it's honestly just love. Like, nothing, I don't know. I guess when I think of tough love, I think of a little bit more like sternness or meanness I don't know, that's not even really a word, is it? I'm not sure. But it just usually, I think, comes across a little bit more aggressive, and his tone, this whole segment of the episode, comes across as, like, concerned, genuinely caring about Megan. The one moment that, like, maybe that doesn't come across is where Megan admits that she hasn't been doing everything that she needs to be doing, and Dr. Proctor smiles, and then Megan loses it.
I'm not going to yell at you, just say yes or no.
Not all of it, but I need to walk out. I need to walk out and take a minute to myself.
Okay.
And that's really how the episode ends, is like just continued meltdown from Megan.
Kidding me? Are you kidding me? I poured my heart out, and instead of listening to me, he turned it back on me again. And the smirk on his face as if it was no big deal at all.
You have the right to feel the way that you feel.
This is exactly why I didn't want to come. Because why do I want to throw myself into a pit of He wouldn't even take an ounce of credit for the way he made me feel. This place.
And to me, it looks like at the very end, like, Megan and Tina are full on leaving the doctor's office. And I just am like, girl, you couldn't even hold it together for Tina to at least have her appointment, but maybe that ends up happening. I mean, if it's like any kind of cliffhanger in these shows, like she's gonna go out to the car, she's gonna collect her feelings, she's gonna go back in, she's gonna talk to Dr. Proctor, Tina's gonna talk to Dr. Proctor, and life is gonna go on. So I'm sure it all ends up fine at the beginning of next week's episode, but it was just like a massive meltdown, which really, I mean, having talked to Megan, I really think she's a genuinely sweet person, and that's why I just feel like, I don't know, Bestie, maybe like it might be best to try to work some of these things out with a therapist, and maybe that's something that happens, because there's a lot of like unresolved, internalized negativity towards yourself, you know what I'm saying? And I think like if you could unpack some of that and like why you're so quick to be negative about yourself, that might help. That might help, like, you move on and, like, move forward, and might help you take constructive feedback in the future. Anyways, that really is how it ends, and I'm looking forward to next week's episode. The one thing that stood out in the preview for me was that they have, like, another hot, like, athletic trainer guy situation type of deal in next week's episode, too. And I'm just like, woo, girls! You're surrounded. You're surrounded by just beautiful men. Let me know, though, what your favorite part of this week's episode was. I have been really enjoying this season so far. I mean, it's only been 2 episodes, so let's not get too ahead of ourselves, but I've had a lot of fun. I hope you all have too. If you're brand new to my channel, make sure to subscribe down below and click the bell button so you get notifications. I also cover the 1,000 Pound Sisters, which starts next week on January 17th. So if that's a show you like, make sure to come tune in for that as well. Make sure to leave me a comment, hit like, click share, and follow me on all of my social media. I had so much fun today. I hope you did too, and I'll see you all next time. Bye!